Apple continues to be better than Android, Samsung devices from the very beginning. Apple provides sleeker designs, more color options, and better rendering cameras, whereas Apple has more options than Samsung. Samsung only offers one or two different colors. Their cameras, they do have better designs with megapixels, but they do not receive the higher quality. Now, with Apple, you do have more polished designs with software, easier to navigate apps left and right, whereas apps through Android and Apple Store typically tend to be more difficult to navigate. Some are a little bit buggy, there's more heat going through the phone, and it causes the phone to run a little bit more sluggish than it is with Apple. Of course, Apple, they're always giving out updates every other week, or at the end of the month they'll create some sort of point 0.5 0.7 update, allowing the end user to make it easier to navigate. Now, with Apple, you are paying premium prices with the newer and bigger designs, prices typically starting off at maybe $1,000. I know with the iPhone 13s, you can get the iPhone 13 Pro Max, I believe, at about $1,200. And now with the Samsung's S21s, they are starting at $800, but you're not receiving such premium care for the phone that you are paying for. Now, of course, I know price is very, you know, diverse. Not everybody can afford such a new phone, but even if you take a look at the base model versions of the iPhones, they're still much more easier to navigate and profoundly much better use for the end user than it would be for an Android. Now, as far as navigating through the apps, most web developers and app developers make it much more easier for Apple users than it is for Android. And that's just because when a web developer or app designer, they mostly create apps for Apple users. And with that, they also have to create a market for the Androids. And with Androids, they have such a diverse selection. I mean, you have LG, you have Samsung, you do have Huawei apps as well. And with those, a lot of those developers, they typically just make some sort of third-party version, or if not, a not as up to date but still buggy version of the app, and that allows the end users of Android to not be as content with that. Whereas the Apple users on our end is typically better to navigate those apps as well. Now, there are some apps where it is Android only, but that's just because it'll probably have to do something with the Samsung app or Apple Play apps only. Now, as far as quality, with phone structures and everything, an iPhone can typically survive a 13-foot drop face on screen first, whereas an Android typically face first. They do have more prone to cracking or scratches along the screen. Now, if you drop them at an angle, say the corner of a phone, those Apple users will typically get some sort of a scratch, whereas a Android user or a Samsung operator, the corners typically tend to shatter and make it much less useful. And with cracks, screens breaking, or any kind of palette being broken on the iPhone, they still hold their values much more better than they would on a Samsung device. Now, as far as Samsung devices go, they typically don't hold their value at all. Usually, whenever it is a one-stop shop, typically for resale, they don't go for that much more anymore. Um, Now, as far as it goes with Apple users, you could sell one and it still be at perfect condition. Anything else aside from that, typically it's just much more on the off end. Apple users, you're going to get more bang for your buck than you would with an Android user. In the end, it's always just better to shell out a couple more $100s for an Apple design than you would for an Android device. Thank you.